It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair.
We live behind high walls to keep poverty out and luxury in. High walls protecting.
Behind High Walls is a 12-minute short movie, and it was premiered in 2020. This film is a collaboration with AUC students and Professor Tania Kamaluddin in the film department. The film is about Kareem, a young man whose death was kind of questionable. Kareem was privileged as he comes from a very wealthy family and he lived his whole life in a bubble. However, he was an activist and he was part of 2011 revolution as it represented hope for him. The film covers his funeral day and how different groups of people reacted towards his death. The narrative of the story is non-linear because the story is told from Kareem's point of view, supported by scenes from the funeral, and it doesn't follow a chronological order. The film is full of allegories or symbols. First, the language was a mix between English and Arabic to distinguish between different groups, and the different groups in the funeral itself represented different groups in Egypt. Same with the mom and dad, as his mom represented the authority and the corruption, while his dad represented old and broken Egypt. His relationship with Sarah represented his relationship with Egypt and the revolution, as Sarah was the revolution, and by losing Sarah, he lost hope.
كان بحبك أوي يا سارة.
Drugs were his escape from the reality, as it was mentioned in the movie that he wanted to feel numb, and he used it to end his suffer and his life.
Well, the way he put it was he needed to numb himself.
The depiction of him naked worked really well, because this is how we were born, and this is how we would die. Naked, afraid, insecure, and alone in this dark place. Also, the water is a sort of cleanser for all his sins at the end. Most importantly, the title of the film itself, Behind High Walls, has significance. It represents living in gated communities and trying to separate the rich from the poor. Or can we call it a tale of two cities? The camera shots in the funeral scenes depended mostly on wide and medium shots, and not many close-ups were used. Also, they used panning shots because they wanted to capture the whole atmosphere and didn't want to focus on a certain character. While in Kareem's scenes, they depended on close-ups, extreme close-ups, and medium shots in order to capture the smallest details of the character. They also depended in zooming in and out, which really helped in editing and didn't make it awkward to go from the other side to the funeral. Also, I love the shot where they kept zooming out to represent his fading hope. The music worked, but sometimes it wasn't adding much to the scene and it was sort of background noise for me. Additionally, the acting wasn't perfect, especially in the funeral scenes.
الحاجات دي مش في ايدنا يا طنط. He left us before his time.
But the protagonist did a great job and he was believable for the most of the time.
With gates and security. A country within a country. A nice, big bubble.
Overall, it was a successful project as it's full of symbols and hidden meanings. So, I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10. Let me know your opinions in the comments. Bye!